Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live streams that I do sometimes. We usually have guests here, but this time we have multiple guests, very special guests that I'm really excited to share with all of you. And I bet you guys are too, because on Twitter and Discord, you guys have been. I've been super excited to see Kamen Rider come out to America and the States, but now we have Team Rider here. So, guys, can you say hello and introduce yourselves too?
Hello.
Hey
Hey
guys, how's it
guys.
going?
Hello, everybody.
So I'm David, the brand manager from Bandai Namco Collectibles, which you guys probably still know as Bluefin. I am the newest Kamen Rider. They successfully brainwashed me into the cult, and I'm pretty happy with it.
This is one of us.
And Ken, you want to go next?
I'm Ken. I'm one of the sales reps over at the company.
I'm Steve. I'm, I guess, Bandai Namco Collectibles agent provocateur, and I work in the sales department.
My name's Anthony. I also work at Bandai Namco Collectibles, and I'm a sales executive.
And then for our temporary on and off again member / movie writer, AJ.
Hey, I'm AJ. I am the movie writer, and I'm on the digital marketing team for now.
Very happy to see all you guys here. And I also have my friend and colleague Liz here. She helps me work on history of Kamen Rider as well as history of Shovel Rider, which should be coming up soon. Liz, if you want to say hi too.
Yeah, hey, I don't have a webcam, but I'm gonna talk as the best I can here.
I've been excited for this like all morning. I've been just so a little nervous. I'm not too much of a nervous guy, but this time I'm just, oh man, talking to Team Rider like pretty much face to face. It's so crazy. But
Don't be nervous. Just know that Bandai and Toei directly are going to watch this. So
That's true.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
And all
The
of
corporate masters
and
are
all of your
watching.
fans.
Japan executives are always watching everything we do, so you are on the spotlight.
Right.
oh no, no pressure or anything.
Nope.
Okay, well, I did ask you guys on Twitter and Discord and the YouTube community chat that we are having this, and in turn, and side by side with that, questions from the community that the community is or wants to know. Some things I want to know, some things other people want to know. But first off, I just want to start out with some simple questions, easy things to get to know you guys, get to know the people behind Team Rider. Who are we talking to, and the people that we'll get to know here? So, starting off, really simple. How did each of you get into Tokusatsu, and what are your favorite Rider seasons so far?
Mine's the shortest, so I'll go first. So my very first entry in Tokusatsu was when I was maybe 4 or 5 with Power Rangers. That was my big thing. I still slightly remember back when I was a little kid in LA, they had a thing where you could meet the cast, and there was the 405 backed up for miles because people were all trying to get there. And I remember my parents taking me there, so that was where I started. And then I took a big old break because of this thing called Gundam that kind of came in and just disrupted everything.
Yeah.
And then when we started doing the Team Rider thing, and I got put on the team. I finally listened to these guys who always been telling me, watch Kamen Rider, watch Kamen Rider. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna work on anything that I don't understand. So I started watching Build. Thank you, Steve. And it was a money sink from there, man. I'm like, they got me. Bandai got me again. But yeah, that's it. Ken, you want to go next? I think your story's pretty engaging.
Well, since we're going all the way back with how Tokusatsu started, I grew up watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then watching, give or take some of the following seasons afterwards. It was kind of on and off, and then I ran into Dino Thunder, which I ended up seeing that one-off Japanese episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So right. So I ended up seeing that. So I got really interested in that and just dove right into Super Sentai. And then somehow that branched off into Kamen Rider. And then this was all during around close to 2006 and all that, which I ended up finding Kamen Rider Kabuto.
Ooh.
And then start off with that officially for Kamen Rider. And then during all of that, I was in drumline for high school. So I was actually doing drum covers on YouTube for a bit before my channel got taken down for copyright. But I ended up running into a couple of close buddies of mine over in the East Coast that I still talk to even now. And so we've been just continuing with just watching Kamen Rider, talking about toys, all that stuff. And lo and behold, it pretty much just helped out with just lining me up with this crew right here.
For myself, just like any other 90s boy back in the day, Power Rangers was really huge for me. And I used to watch a lot of other Tokusatsu shows, not knowing it was actually Tokusatsu. So like Ultraman Taiga, Superhuman Samurai, Cyber Squad.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Yeah, classic.
Yep. When I started working at my my old job, when I met with Ken actually there, he actually got me to look into Kamen Rider again, because I knew what it was back in the day, but I never really actually watched it. Tried it. I think it was Blade I was watching. Gave up on it, and then and it was that was just one episode, but I gave up on it. And then Nickelodeon at one point had this Power Rangers marathon, and I was trying to look for a way to watch all the seasons again, and then I stumbled upon Decade, and I thought, all right, this looks kind of cool. So I started not rewatching, but I started watching Decade. I loved it, and then I went back and watched Deno, then Kiva. And then ever since then, I've been watching every single series.
So when Power Rangers first aired, I was 6th grade at the Boys and Girls Club, and I'll never forget that like intro music. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So I'm playing Samurai Showdown, and I look over, and when it gets to the part with the Megazord rising up, I was like, ooh, robot. So finished up beating Samurai Showdown, went and sat down and watched it. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It wasn't really something that I got heavily into. My younger brother enjoyed it a lot more, had all the cool toys. And as I went off into college, into, it's the piracy era. I'm that old. You're just kind of downloading whatever you can get your hands on coming out of Japan.
Yeah.
And I ran into like Kamen Rider Black episodes here and there, but I could never find like everything. So I watched some of them like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's a little bit different. Like I didn't understand like how melodramatic is more of their choice in art form when it comes to live action. So it didn't growing up purely on the American style didn't really appeal to me, but I'd always been aware of it. A couple of years ago, Anthony was telling me how great Build was, and he was like, dude, you should really like stop being lazy and try it. Because I mentioned like it's on my list to watch, but when you work a 40-hour-a-week job, you can only put stuff on a list and get to so many things because you just don't have time. So I was finally like, all right, let me do this. And like, what was it, Anthony? Like 4 episodes in, I came up to you and I was like, all right, it's got me. This is fun.
I think it was the episode with the big reveal of Bloodstark and who he was, and that's when you're like, all right, I'm watching.
Yeah, that's it. Everything. I'm totally. When he does that first pull off the ear, the hand flick, and the winning formula line, I was like, oh, this is so cheesy, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's such a good one-liner. And so I just went into marathon mode, finished that as fast as I could, and that's right around a lot of the internal stuff started going on for this project. And I've just been like, all right, it's got me hooked. I'm buying the merchandise. I'm trying to watch everything I can get my hands on and definitely support it legally. I highly recommend that, everybody.
Yes.
And haven't looked back since. It's been great having a different kind of hobby and a different thing to enjoy other than my usual mecha and video games.
Right. I love that origin story too. Like Samurai Showdown and Power Rangers, like early 90s.
Great for me. I was 6th grade, Orange County, school kid. You're at the Boys and Girls Club waiting for your parents to pick you up, and it's just like there's a Neo Geo machine and a Mortal Kombat machine. And, hey,
Fatal Fury.
Nobody's playing video games right now. What is everybody watching? And it's like this huge group of people just staring at the screen, and you hear that cheesy guitar riff in the first season, and I'm like, oh, giant robot, I must know what this is now.
I want to skip the Power Ranger part because I know like most of us fans probably started on that. So I grew up in Japan around like 95, so I was watching like Metal Hero era, like E-Fighter, Kabuto. Gavin.
Whoa.
Oh geez.
It's on television, so none of the episodes were, they weren't in order. I would just watch it here and there. I remember, like, even before going to church, we had, like, Time Ranger was playing at that time, too. And I was like, I have to, like, watch this before we go. And they're like, no, you got to go. I'm like, oh, the episodes.
Yeah.
Even then, like, coming back to the States, I'd pick up, like, a couple episodes here and there, like, just watch them. I'm like, where? I missed those shows, and I looked it up again. Turns out I've been watching, like, the same genre the whole time. Like, I didn't even know it was considered tokusatsu. I was like, these are just superheroes and, like, robots and everything. They feel good. Going into staying in the States more, I just got better. Like I just wanted to get more Toku stuff in my life, so I kept watching like more Kamen Rider as much as I can, and I kept buying the product. I'm a Bandai baby.
Yeah.
BBs.
Wow, it's so interesting because like most of us, like you said, have watched Power Rangers. We started with Power Rangers, and then that love grew into maybe watching a clip on YouTube or seeing something on TV passing by. And like I remember when I was young, I saw Kuga like in South American TV. I don't know what the heck it was. I don't know what it is, but like as a kid, you're like, that looks really cool. And then our love just grew out of that. And now we're watching Build, and now Kamen Rider's coming to America, and then we're talking about it, and it's just so exciting. I'm pretty sure we've all watched at least one Kamen Rider season. You guys have been saying you've been watching Build and stuff like that, which is a great choice, by the way. Build's amazing. But are there any non-writer tokusatsus y'all have been watching?
Funny that you bring that up because I literally rewatched Akiba Ranger. Just this past week, yeah. Just because I need a little pick me up, so I'm just like, all right, let's just sit down, watch it again, and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And just pretty much just like been playing with like my Akiba Ranger behind me.
Wow.
Probably the most recent one for me was finally finishing Space Sheriff Gavin. Getting through all of it, like I've seen the sword floating around. I've always heard Ken joke around about it, and I was like, all right. I finished the Heisei era. Let me go watch some of the other Toku stuff. I don't want to like pigeonhole myself. And that one was a lot of fun. And I would recommend if anybody can get it, if you need something really feel good in the Toku realm, is Tokusatsu Gagaga is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It gives me such good feels, and I totally would recommend that for fans. If you ever want to like know that you're not alone and having to sometimes hide your power level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta go in public. Gotta hide my true strength.
Wow. If you guys want any recommendations, Ultraman, the big three, Ultraman, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, those are always the biggest ones. But Garo is really good. Like if you want so much Garo, fantastic. It was same director as a Kamen Rider Zeto from the 90s. Fantastic. Moving a little bit out of Tokusatsu, do you guys have what are your interests or hobbies outside of Kamen Rider and Tokusatsu?
My first love will always be Gundam. That's actually why I even work at the company now. Is I always wanted to work at Bandai because I love Gundam. So I've been building the model kits since I was 7. God, about 23 years this year. Oh wow, time.
Bandai babies.
Oh God.
Okay, Grandpa. Way to pull the age card right now.
Wow.
I just realized. I am getting up there. But yeah, no. Gundam is my big interest. Other than that, and of course, video games, but mainly Gundam and tiny plastic robots.
Nah, but you got like the double bill. You got into Gundam and now you're into Kamen Rider. You're just like Bandai's top boy.
Oh, they know, dude. They know. Like I'm like, look, you can just pay me half in money, half in product. It's fine.
I want that deal. Wait, hold on. I want that deal too.
Oh man, we're talking benefits in this chat.
Right, exactly.
I play a lot of card games. I'm very competitive. So, almost like every card game out there I've played. Even like that building Godzilla game that's out. That one's pretty fun. I'm not good at it. I only played a couple times with some friends because I don't personally own it, but my friend does. So, of course, they're going to win because they know what they're doing, and I'm still learning it. But mainly card games.
Magic the Gathering has some Godzilla cards out right now. And
yeah,
gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful cards.
Wait,
yeah, if it's not the cards, it's like the playmat, the sleeves.
Yeah.
I want all of that. I have yet to go pick some up, but I am in it for that.
Oh, man, dude.
Accessories. I'm an accessory kind of person.
I can't do that, man. I escaped Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 times. I won't go back to
I
card
haven't.
I've never bothered to leave it. It's so much fun. The art's so good.
And I could talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic forever, because when I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't know Toku. So when I got into Toku, I wanted my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards to be nothing but like Super Quantums and Toku references and Masked Heroes.
Yeah.
And same with Magic the Gathering.
Elemental Heroes. You got the Mask Heroes.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, this one's for me personally, since I'm always interested in what people like outside of Tokusatsu, but outside of Toku, I'm a huge gamer. So, what is there any favorite video games you guys have, if any?
Oh,
Devil
for
May
sure.
Cry.
League of Legends.
Oh, good choices.
I mean, mine's probably obvious from the shirt I'm wearing. I'm real big into Overwatch, so.
Yeah.
I was looking at
I'm an
it.
absolute sucker for Counter-Strike.
Ooh.
When I was in college, that was like the game. So I used to go to PC parlors, mad trash talk. So I will always throw down on CS anytime. But lately, I play a lot of League of Legends, Overwatch. Some of the more, I know that's everybody would say that's what everybody plays, but I mean, there's a reason why lots of people are playing those games. They are a lot of fun.
Right.
Well, were you playing 1.8 or the original? Like original?
OG, and I was actually in the Cow Leagues during 1.6.
Wow.
No way. Nice.
Play Valorant then.
That's
Ooh,
legendary.
Oh, believe me, I've been drooling to get a Valorant key and start playing because I miss. It's the isolated round that really makes that game so hard because you don't just sit in, get fragged, and then come back. You have to actually strategize. You have to be patient. You have to know your maps, and there's a lot of Counter-Strike skills that cross over into other games, and I found myself to become a monster at certain game types. So I'm looking forward to this being Counter-Strike with Overwatch powers, and I want to see if most of my old skills come out. I used to do some stuff that got me banned from servers in like seconds. It was
Totally.
in the Cow
Just
Leagues,
hacking.
you had to know that. Like if you would flashbang me, I would still shoot you because if you don't move, I know where you were standing. I have a semi-photographic memory, so I just turn and blast the guy, and they'd be like, "Oh, you have to be cheating." I'm like, "But you didn't move. You stood there."
Wow.
Hacker.
We have our own genius gamer S here, Steve.
That's like way
Big
too much,
brain
man. I can't do a lot of things. I can't name a top 100 song in any part of my life, but I'm damn good at Counter-Strike, and I know way too much about anime.
Well, that would actually be a pretty good transition because favorite anime? Anybody?
Ooh.
Fooly Cooly.
Oh, good choice.
Oh,
Good choice. Good choice.
Best 6 episodes of my life.
I'm a JoJo person. I like JoJo's, so.
Yada, yada,
It's okay. We
yada.
still love you.
Oh,
Whoa, hold on. JoJo seasons are like Kamen Rider seasons.
But it's true, yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Mine's Rurouni Kenshin.
I'm gonna get you into that, dude.
Yeah, that's a
Rurouni
good choice.
Kenshin. That's very good.
Yeah. I think for me it would be 8th MS team from Gundam. Definitely was probably
Yeah.
my favorite overall. Because there was no new type magic. It was just, hey, I have a metal object and I'm gonna hit you with it until you die.
Totally.
I'm planning on rewatching Gaim soon, Kamen Rider Gaim, and I know the same writer, or its writer, Gen Urobuchi. He wrote for Madoka Magica, and when I
Yeah.
posted it on Twitter, everyone was going crazy. Like, he wrote the same thing. Don't expect the Magical Girl show. And I'm not going to say anything, but I was pretty sad for about a week after I watched episode 3. So,
That one will surprise you.
Yeah.
What I love about connections like that is that you could totally like say, oh yeah, this is the same writer as this, and it's totally has like the same themes, and like that's like the transition into saying like, oh yeah, get into Kamen Rider like this, and it's like,
yeah.
I love stuff like that.
Definitely.
There's a lot of Ryuki influences too that Gen Urobuchi had, and you can definitely see it. Lots of there's a lot of dark and mature themes in it, but we'll get past that. I remember Anthony was saying Fooly Cooly was a good 6-episode anime. I like to think that a Death Note is a pretty cool 12-episode anime too. So
Do you by any chance have a bag of chips on your desk right now?
I have a bag of almonds and I'll eat them.
Oh no.
I'll eat one, I'll write a name, and I'll eat another one.
See, what we don't know, David, is that he wrote all of our names before the chat started.
Oh
No
no!
way.
Okay, let's get into a little bit more of a Kamen Rider favorites here. So starting off, favorite Kamen Rider weapons. I see Kenneth already has a few back there with the shot riser and all that.
Give or take. But my favorite would actually be Kaisa's blade gun.
Ooh,
Even though
Yeah.
it's behind the belt right now. But you just can't go wrong with just having a blaster and a sword at the same time. So
Mhm.
give or take, as a situational kind of weapon.
Mhm.
I guess for me, it's a little unconventional, but Omazio's hands are weapons. All right, like
Just put hand down.
He
Explosion.
shows up and then he goes boom, and you die. And that's it.
Mhm.
Best weapon.
Oh my god.
Catch these hands.
Yeah, exactly.
I like how he just throws the main dude from Kuga like into the air. Like,
Yeah. What the heck?
Just kicks you out of existence.
Like, stop it. Come on. I'm Omazio.
I'm a sucker for DN's gun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When I was a kid, cap guns were still a big thing, and I got one, and I would practice like spinning it like Western style, because I grew up watching a lot of spaghetti westerns and then samurai movies. So the thought of being able to take DN's gun, do the spin, then snap, and have it pop open and slot cards, I love that. It's so goofy, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Mine's like Baron's mango mace. Like
Oh yeah.
it just looked good.
totally. Oh my
Like,
gosh.
every time I see it, I'm like, it looks delicious. I'm gonna throw a little chamoy on that, but I guess we'll beat up some Invest too while we're at it.
I love mango. Like, it's my favorite fruit, and like seeing mango
Yeah.
orange representation, it's so good. I love that.
It
That-
looks great.
It's a little weird. I kind of wanted to eat the mace at first, but
Yeah.
There was a chamoy like seed. Chamoy
Yeah.
mango seed. That would have been super awesome.
Well, if Gaim had a fresh form, then why can't Baron have a chamoy form?
mango orange.
Ultimate crossover.
Yeah, I personally really love Gaim's swords because they just make me want an orange slice.
True.
You found those appealing?
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Listen,
I get it.
just so you know, guys, back when we were in the office before the world ended, that was every day for us. It's just Ken and his puns. That's just life for us.
David straight up made a scoreboard of just how many terrible puns.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
no.
We'll start with Anthony next on here. Favorite Kamen Rider gimmick, like any of the toys or like lock seats or anything like that.
Gimmick? Favorite gimmick? X8.
Ooh,
X8's the
badass.
Yeah.
yeah. Because I remember when I watched X8, first episode of X8, I thought this is stupid. Like video game counter. Like what happened?
Uh-huh.
And I gave up on it. And then I saw Brave's level 50 form. Like this is really cool.
Mhm.
So let me go back and watch all the episodes I missed. And then ever since then, I've loved X8. So X8's Gashettes for sure.
You say Brave reminded you of his level 50 looked like Rathalos, right?
Rathalos armor from Monster Hunter, yeah.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
I think for me, it's and I mean, anyone who's been by my desk at the office can attest to this. But ride watches
Ooh.
are my weakness. I have.
Oh man.
Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a 5-tiered watch dice. So we actually made a GIF of it on the Team Rider social media.
No
And
way.
I've got basically every special watch out there except for Gates Majesty and Tsukiyomi. Once I get those,
Coming
I'll
over.
have all the ones I want.
Wow.
David, I'll totally like give you some links here, like after the show's ended, because like
That's what's up.
you got to get supplied here.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be full bottle. Shake,
Oh.
shake, shake, everybody.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's so simple. It's so satisfying. Like I was a big sucker for the last stage show they did. That somebody did a side by side with their henshin and the actor, and just the perfect shake, shake, snap, slot. Like every little bit of the motion and the sound effect is just so satisfying. I've been a sucker for the bottles ever since.
And
Oh,
Ken,
man.
which of the myriad of things behind you is your favorite?
Just point right there.
It's
That one.
the progress keys is all the progress keys. Like I have have a good chunk of the legend keys, and I still need to get the racks just so I can just display those. So right now they're all just kind of just mangled up there for now. But yeah, the progress keys. I mean, like I'm a sucker for like just tech and all that. So just seeing how all that was used, it's super slick, super clean, and very, very, very tempting just to be able to just open up the keys and all that.
Oh yeah.
We play with those a lot in the office, and we tell everybody this is for research. Okay, this is for us to be better at being Team Rider.
Yeah. Product testing.
You gotta know what you gotta sell. So don't be mad at us for playing with these.
Right.
I've been looking at that Blizzard knuckle this whole time. I'm like super jealous that you have one.
I got.
You want to come over?
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
We'll get into a few more of the Team Rider specific questions. First off, I'm a bit curious myself. Why the name Team Rider? Is there something special behind it, or was it just, oh, it's a team and we're Kamen Riders?
When I got the go ahead to form the team up, we typically inside of companies, projects will have special names and everything, and I kind of try to think as forward as possible of, all right, if this catches enough steam, what could we call ourselves? And kind of as we get involved with the community and let them know, like, hey, not just with us, but we want, this only works if it's together with you guys. And so, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is going to sound corny, but I could probably get away with this and not tick anybody off with copyrights. So that's when I came up with Team Rider. And I was trying to think one day this would not just be us, the Bandai Namco's collectible Team Rider, but I wanted it to be one day like everybody, all the fans, we are all on Team Rider together. Wow. That's like the long-term dream. I don't know what'll happen, but that's kind of what birthed the name, is like wanting some kind of internal classification to rally us together and eventually be able to, do more of things like this and bring more hot merchandise that everybody wants to the States, because it's what we all want as fans. And I want us to all share in this together, because we don't get to do our job unless the fans are there with us.
Yeah, I love that.
We also didn't want to sound like super nerds and call ourselves Superhero Fun Time. We wanted something, simple, but, that has a strong meaning behind it. So Team Rider was a good name for us.
Coincidentally, it also fits a few of the Kamen Rider themes, because in Build, they call themselves Team Build, and in X-Aid, they call themselves Team X-Aid.
Yes.
So it kind of works.
Exactly.
You've seen all the fans and all that. I could say, or you could say that was like the initiative to bring Kamen Rider over to America in the first place, because everybody wanted to see Kamen Rider like legally and on their TVs. Tokusatsu is a big thing. I see people on Twitter all the time being like, wow, Kuga's on my TV, Ichigo's on my TV. So how surprised were all of you when you saw all the support you got from not only like Twitter, but like other forums and on YouTube, and everybody rattling like, Kamen Rider's here, Kamen Rider's on TV? Like, how were you like surprised by all that?
David, I think you can tell the best story of your first interaction with fans.
Yeah, it has been amazing dealing with the Kamen Rider fan base. I remember, I had just started back in October, and I remember in November I was at Anime NYC, and a few fans came up and said, "Hey, you're from Team Rider," and I'm like, "That's pretty cool that you recognize that. I'm not gonna cry right now." And then they were like, "What have you seen so far?" I'm like, "Oh, I watched Build. I'm on Zeo now." And then I loved how everyone had their own list of the order I should watch everything in. But the cool thing was, no one was mean about it. They were very welcoming. They answered all my questions and stuff. And I've noticed the Kamen Rider fan base, you guys pay super close attention to everything. Like, I remember, so I have since I'm into Gundam and Gunpla, I like to paint stuff. So, I painted up my Ziku driver in like Oma colors. Whoa. And I had it in one video that we did. And then people kept asking, "Hey, is that P-Bandai? Like, does that exist? Like, how do I get that?" And I'm like, "Oh no!" And then, like, when we had our meetups, people were like, "Hey, did you bring the belt? Like, I want to see it." And I'm like, "Oh snap! Like, you guys, you're tuned in. You're nice about stuff, and like, it's been great. And there have been other communities that I've been a part of that have not been this. So this has definitely been a godsend, definitely."
The eternal pose, how you felt everybody doing the thumbs down and not understanding what it meant.
Yeah.
I don't know the story.
Like, like, what's happening? And then I watched further. I'm like, I get it now. I get it.
With all the support you've gotten with Team Rider, were there any major obstacles in bringing Kamen Rider over to the States, or anything that we thought, wow, it might be a little more difficult than we thought?
It's a tricky one, given that there's only so much we're allowed to say about an internal process. Mm-hmm. But in general, when it comes to any kind of business decision, it's about the research. It's about being able to show those that make decisions like, hey, there are these fans here. Here's how we know that they're here. And for us, it became of looking at what's publicly available data, because, we can't make an official statement and we don't want to get fans' hopes up. As fans of stuff ourselves, we hate when we get something wrong like that and then we're let down. So we did a lot of searching, asked a lot of questions, reached out to a lot of guys that are well known in the Tokusatsu world, just trying to get information feedback of where we can find information. So I think the hardest part was really finding publicly available visibility data that we could use to state our case. And we did manage to get a couple of really good categories that helped a lot, but like when we did our plea during AX for the survey, things like that really do help, and it opens doors for us because it's all about us getting the fans what they tell us they want. I mean, you saw it in the survey questions. What do you want? We asked that question. What are the products? And so now we know what to go hunt. And I would say it just readily available data is the tricky part, because we can't tip off anybody, but we need real numbers to be able to speak to, because part of this is a business decision.
Yeah, I love how I'm very interested in the distribution process, and I'm really I just feel like the release of the double driver itself, the 1.5, I just feel like, oh man, this feels like something. This feels important, and I'm really happy this has gotten this far and stuff.
By the way, if you guys didn't see on our Twitter post, I think it was earlier this week on Monday, the double driver CSL 1.5 is currently in our building.
Yes.
It has arrived.
Oh, man. Whoa.
Can't wait to get my hands on that. The Lost Drivers one I've been waiting for, so really happy about that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
So this one's asked quite a bit, not just from me, but from the community specifically. Does Team Writer have a hand in choosing and distributing specific writer seasons, or is that more on the Shout Factory Tokusatsu side?
So that is a Shout Factory thing that that they decide basically on what they want to go after. But best believe we make our recommendations though. I tell them, hey, that's cool you bring this in, but here's what I personally want. So if you could go ahead and just do that, that would be great.
You've become the people to give you the list.
Yes, exactly. But no, yeah, that's a Shout Factory thing. They control that. Them together with Toei.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense too. Steve mentioned earlier that it is hard to get the numbers, especially for internally, and since you guys can't say that. But I want to know personally, how closely are Toei and Bandai looking at community outreach, such as surveys? Because I know earlier you guys joked that they're watching this stream, maybe.
Oh, they are.
No, it's not a joke. They're looking at everything.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, for example, one of the biggest things we did in terms of being involved with the community at New York Toy Fair earlier this year was we did a fan meetup in Times Square. This meetup was so large that Midtown Comics, would shout out to them for hosting it, their top floor they had to shut off.
Ooh.
They had to control people going, and I've been going to Midtown for almost 10 years, and I've never seen that. When we walked over, we had a bunch of people there. We had some cosplayers out there. The cops came by. They're like, "What is happening?" We're like, "Kamen Rider." They're like, oh, "Okay." They're like, but they're kind of low key off in the distance taking photos was Bandai higher ups, and they were taking photos and they were sending it back to the mothership so they can see. No, there are fans here in America. When we've taken surveys, like on Twitter or in person at conventions, we take those directly to Bandai and Toei. These are being directly seen, and they have an impact. Like for example, earlier this year we had a first half of Heisei poll that we had on our Team Writer Twitter, and Dan O won.
Ooh.
And so I sent that to Bandai in Japan. They're like, oh wow, maybe we should do a Den-O belt. And then as you guys saw, a few months later, Den-O DX.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
We got that reprint. So these, when we ask you guys to take these surveys, they are directly impactful on what we're able to bring in.
Yeah. So as much as everybody says make your voices heard, you have to make your voices heard on these surveys and on Twitter, because Toei and Bandai, they're watching and they know now they know how many fans there are, so they know how badly we want more of these shows on Tokusatsu and all that. So yeah, guys, even though you heard it thousands of times, make your voices heard.
Yes.
So that leads me into one of the biggest questions people have been asking. Even though Kamen Rider has been working out here a little bit more in America, how can non-Americans support the push for brighter exposure in the West?
So this is like, you know, the more of the trickier part. Wherever you are, you have to find who your region's Bandai supplier is.
Yes.
You know, like you have to find the equivalent of Bluefin. So, you know, like for Canada, for example, the closest thing I can think of off the top of my head would be Plamod. You know, like they deal with Bandai a lot. You know, if you're in Europe, you need to find who the Europe supplier for Bandai is, because they're going to be easier to reach than Bandai itself. You know,
when it comes to Canada, we do sell into stores in Canada, but the best thing that the Canadian fans can do is we list a lot of those stores on our website. Go there and buy it. Buy from official distribution, and it feeds the machine of getting you more stuff a lot faster. Like David said, find your Bandai agent in either your country or your region. Start talking to them. Go to the conventions that they go to, because they'll be there in person. And when you see that Japanese guy hanging out in the background, walk up with your Kamen Rider belt on, power that bad boy up, and be like, hey, how can I get this? Because they will take notice. They will take pictures. Everything that goes on at certain moments is reported up immediately, not just by us, but by them. So when we specifically say to the community, like, hey, come to this event, come and interact with us, know that it also comes with Bandai is watching, and by extension, Toei. Toei even came to talk to us face to face about everything going on, to hear our take on the fans.
That was crazy, by the way.
Yeah, that was a crazy. There's a lot of stuff we can't talk about when it comes to licensors in general. Are people that you want to show your best face to. They're literally the guy that says, yes, I will permit you to make merchandise of our product. Right. So they're here, they're paying attention, and I just want fans to realize, like, upping your visibility and participation in what's going on is helping your case more and more and more. There's so much stuff that we've been meeting on and talking and having the works. Like, I wish we could talk more on it. I wish I wish I could just blab it all to everybody, because people would be super hyped, but it's coming, and the more you guys do these things, the more it helps open doors like you'd not believe coming.
Yeah, like basically, the more you guys do, it gives us ammo. And it really helps out in a lot of these meetings. And Steve, you remember that day we were sitting upstairs, and Toei was downstairs, and with the executives.
Yeah.
Someone came up and got us, and he said, "All right, guys, come on, your turn, Toei meeting." And I'm like, "This is where I die."
Well, you remember the Monday before the meeting, we have a certain person who is like the right hand of one of our execs. He comes to us and is like, "I need you to prepare for a meeting," and I'm like, okay, like, what, am I about to get fired? And he's like, no, you're going to sit down and talk to Toei. And David and I look at each other like, oh, God.
I'm like, this is not a drill.
And so I was like,
for real.
Something wrong? And they're like, no, we want you to talk about Toei and Kamen Rider. And I was like, oh my. Okay.
Whoa.
No pressure.
Yeah, but definitely, just reach out to your local people. And, I am taking note of all the times we get comments saying, hey, I'm from Europe. Hey, I'm from South America. Hey, I'm from here. I'm from there. How do we get in touch? And so I let them know there are other people around the world who also need a team writer. So keep trying, guys. Keep trying. Keep being loud.
Liz actually wanted to ask this one. We've recently seen a re-release of several Kamen Rider toys, including the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Black, as well as the DX and Goku Driver. How difficult is this redistribution process compared to releasing a brand new toy like the CSM Double Driver or Kiba Belt?
When it comes to like a reissue for the DX belts, it's not too difficult. The only thing is that we have to basically wait until it comes up for reproduction again, and that's driven more on the Japan side. But we're always asking for certain reprints. We're always trying to offer up a different data. Like I said, I offered up the Deno data. That was back in, I think, February. And then, we were able to announce last month, hey guys, Deno DX reprint. I'd like to think it helped them make the decision, because, those two things don't just happen in the vacuum.
See, that's David's official statement. David's unofficial statement is when he finishes watching a series, he'll go to them and say, "Hey, so I just finished watching Kabuto. Can we get the Kabuto belt back? Thank you."
Okay, all right. Real talk. When I finish a series, I look to try and find the belt. If the belt's too expensive online, I'm like, "Hey, Bandai, can we go ahead and get that reprint real quick so I can get that employee discount?"
Yeah, so what's the process like with which Rider toys to distribute?
A lot of that tends to vary manufacturer to manufacturer, but typically how most of the stuff in business will work is whoever the largest buying majority is tends to have the most control. So right now, because obviously it's a Japanese IP, Japan tends to set the stage for what demand looks like, and we just try to make sure anything that is available there is here. And that even goes for trying to get P-Bandai releases. I know I've been asked about that at events before. People are like, "Can we get P-Bandai?" Believe me, we bug them. We take every opportunity to bug them. We have a certain contact that I have a pretty good friendship with, and every time I see him, he looks at me and he just sighs and he goes, "No, okay, I'll ask him again. I'll ask him," because he already knows what I'm going to ask for. And you know, one thing we'd like to let the fans know, we take every opportunity, even when some of the big dogs from manufacturing partners come. We try to get an audience with them. We try to ask those questions because we understand, like, the more we can make available the core products everybody loves, the more it saves the fans money and it opens up more opportunity. And because we don't want to stop here at just SHF and just belts. We want to make sure we can get everybody everything that they want.
Right. Yeah, we basically go and we ask, "Hey, can we have everything?" And they go, "You can have nothing." And we go, "How about some things?" And they go, "Perfect."
Well, first it's no, but why? And then when we go round and round with why for like a couple of weeks, then they're like, let me think about it.
Now, and Steve, what is the item I keep telling you to tell your friends at Tamashi that David needs?
You need a Valkyrie, is what you need.
No. The other thing, the harder to get thing.
The Kachidoki Arms SIC. Got
Yes.
Oh my god.
Man.
Get on that, Steve.
Dude.
That is a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So
Those SICs, they're crazy. Like they just go like so excessive and just beautiful.
Kachidoki is such a gorgeous suit. That SIC is, oh man.
I'm actually really excited for that SIC Fies. It looks so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does look really good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
so this one's a bit of a jokey one, but it's also pertains to the community. Will there be more streams like this in the future, or at least more streams that interact with the community?
So
I hope so.
As much as we're allowed to do.
This is the last one we will ever do. Bandai will never do videos ever again after this moment. No. Yeah, we're gonna do this a lot. We have a lot of stuff planned for upcoming because we originally had plans for a lot of meetups in person, but the world has collapsed since then.
Yeah.
So we're moving to online events. So definitely you'll be seeing this more and more, and hopefully we'll be on with you some more as well, Marco. So that hopefully that'll be happening very soon.
Oh, thank you.
totally.
So
I mean, he did write our names in the Death Note apparently.
Yeah.
all right. Saving the most asked question for last, the one that everybody wants to know, the one chat is blowing up over. Can you give us any hints on future releases or projects?
So here's the thing. Can I? As in, do I have the ability? Yes, I know everything. Will I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Different question. So unfortunately, some of the newer stuff we can't talk about just yet. We do have some stuff planned, digital event wise, for the next month and a half ish, where we'll be able to drop more info. So definitely, please stay tuned for that. But we do have some other things coming up, like there's some new Figure Eye standards for Kamen Rider coming out. Anthony, I don't know if you want to talk about those that were just announced.
Figure Eight standards. Well, let's see. The Kabuto came out recently. Oh, the Hibiki and the Decade.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised those were coming out.
Yeah.
Oh.
And of course, we just announced Ixa, so that's coming out to see some Ixa. But so right now I can't say too much about some of the other stuff, but just stay tuned. Follow us at Team Rider US on Twitter. Once we get closer, we'll be able to tease. Like if you guys watch our earlier videos this year, you know, we and last year as well. Like we really like doing our tease videos. Like when we had that video where we all ate different fruits and we all figured out that it was Gaim pretty quickly. Pretty quickly.
Like in a nanosecond.
Wrong, it's
like
Blade.
Everybody.
It's Blade. Yeah, we have some more announcements coming in pretty soon, so just please stay tuned.
Use the Death Note.
Wow, you didn't announce anything. Fire.
I'm sorry, I can't. We gotta wait, but hopefully the next thing I can announce, hopefully I can do it also, you know, with you on stream, Marco. So
the wait will be worth it to everybody. The wait will be worth it.
Yeah,
I'm excited too, man. What's it gonna be? That's actually all the questions. I'm surprised we were able to hit them all. All right.
That's how we do.
Nice.
Just in time too. Yeah. So, everybody in chat, thank you so much. Special thank you to Team Writer. It was so cool to have you guys. This was a dream. And of course, Liz helping out too. The chat moderators that I've been watching, and everybody here too. Like Team Writer, especially. Thank you so much, David, Steve, Kenneth, AJ, Anthony. Like, it's so cool to do all this, and my own community and the Discord and Twitter. I'm pretty sure they're happy about all this too.
Yeah, thank you for having us on, and definitely follow us at Team Writer US because, like I said, we have some announcements coming up pretty soon. And I'd like to be able to drop more hints later on down the way, but definitely just keep watching. It's going to be. I'm pretty excited for it. Like there are a couple things that we're going to be able to do in this next month and a half that when I asked, at first they were like no, and then they saw like the Team Writer meetups and how you guys were reacting on Twitter and stuff. They're like, well, maybe. And then they saw us actually meet up in person, and they were like, yes.
I'd just like to say to the fans, just keep being you guys. Keep interacting. Keep blowing up Twitter. Keep throwing those gifts out. Everybody's paying attention. The more you guys participate, the more visibility you show, the better it is for everybody. And I can't wait till David can tell you the full story of what he's implying, because there's so many fun things that we didn't think we'd get away with as fans, because you never know if the fan side is permissible in the business side. But I really think everybody's going to love what's coming. And I look forward to seeing the chats, seeing people's reactions. I told Anthony this when we were starting this really early to end on this note. Like, I really want to see that one day when I'm standing there at a con, trying to sell the next belt and get people hyped. I want to see that guy walking out with his first belt, strapping it on and powering it up, and then looking at his friends with a smile on his face. I feel like if I see that, I'll probably cry like a big baby, but that's the kind of thing I want to see. Like, I want to see the fans find that joy that we all arrive at to get us into the fandom.
Yeah. And
I'll do that for you at show.
Yeah. And in the spirit of the EXO CSM, I'll say this about what's happening in the next 2 months. Be prepared to return your wallet to Bandai. All right?
Oh man.
It's going to be crazy. I've already been doing the math. I'm like, okay, can I get everything? It's going to be crazy, but just be ready, guys. Be ready.
Wow. Again, thank you guys so much, and the chat's been blowing up with thank you, Team Writer. So, yeah, thank you, Team Writer, for everything and for being on here. It's thank you guys so much. So
anytime.
Yeah, with all that, I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Yeah.